Here is my story from a younger guy that wants to share his what if story. I've heard we all have one of those, so here is mine. I am a 24-year-old, finally putting together a trip with my friends to head back to Pattaya, 5 years after my first visit. But before I get into the plans for this trip, let me take you back to my first time in Pattaya and how I let a girl slip away from me, whether it was for better or for worse. That trip will always stay with me, not just because it was my introduction to Thailand's crazy nightlife, but because it was the last time I got to spend with my dad before he passed away. He was pretty much like my hero, and he taught me everything I knew. He really was the best father I could have asked for. That in itself is a story worth telling, but today I want to talk about something, or rather someone else. This is about the time I met a go-go girl in Pattaya and how I really regret how things ended between us. Her name was Nam. Well, not really, but let's call her that. And trust me, she was someone I'll never forget. Before I get into my story, I will give a little info on me and a bit of a background. I'm half Thai, half English, which means I grew up around Thai women. And trust me, I know exactly what they are like, my mother being the prime example. My dad met my mum while he was working in Thailand. They ended up getting married years later, moved to his country and had me. Later, they got a divorce, but still remained friends. Apparently, they worked at the same place. That is how they met. That is what they told me anyway. I don't like to think if that's true or not, if you know what I mean. Luckily, or maybe unluckily, depending on how you look at it, I was born and raised in the UK, so I've got that Western mindset. But I can't deny that some of those classic Thai traits run through my veins too. A perfect example, I absolutely hate losing face. It's one of those things that's just wired into me. If you know anything about Thai culture, you'll know that saving face is a big deal. Pride, respect, not showing weakness. Yeah, turns out that part of me is very, very Thai. Anyway, back to my story, because this trip to Pattaya, it was about to take a turn I never saw coming. So let's rewind to 2020. I was just 19 and had decided to go all the way to Pattaya for a month with my dad. My home base for this trip was the Score Beach Hotel. I think that's the name of it anyway. Apologies if I got it wrong, but it's a pretty chill spot. Now, being so young and far from home, I thought it would be smart to stick close to my dad for the first couple of weeks. After all, the guy was practically a Pattaya veteran by then. He was already on his second Thai wife, so if anyone knew the ropes around here, it was him. The first 2 weeks were all about learning the ropes, watching him work his magic and pick up on the little things. It was like Pattaya 101, taught by the man himself. We would go to the bars, and when girls would come and talk to us, he would introduce me as his son, and the girls would find it very cute that I was half Thai and on holiday with my dad. They would say things like, "I am very cute being mixed race," and would ask my dad if he wanted another half Thai kid. But then came the moment that would change everything. After one of those talks that felt like it came straight out of The Lion King, you know, the one where Mufasa gives Simba the "you are ready" speech, my dad sat me down and gave me the green light. "You are ready, son. Go out there and do your thing." And just like that, I was set free. So, with cash in my pockets and the infamous 3 Fs in mind, I hit the streets, ready for the action inside the bars. I was ready to dive into the madness that Pattaya had to offer, and my first stop, go-go bars. At this point in my life, I was not a big drinker and did not really go out to the bars much at home. So even though I was excited to experience Pattaya, I still had to be careful. I didn't waste any time. I bounced around from one bar to the next, grabbing a drink at each place. I started at the bottom of Soy Bacau originally, getting some Dutch courage on the way up the Soy, and then entered LK Metro, where I went to a few of the go-go bars. The attention I was getting at first was kind of intimidating, but as the night went on and the alcohol kicked in, I started to lose track of everything, and the nerves were replaced with that lovely feeling of being totally smashed. At that point, I was loving the attention. I knew I had to slow down though, because everything was going to my head. The drinks, the attention, the atmosphere. It was all making me feel like I was on cloud 9. It turns out Thai girls love the fact that I'm half Thai, and I quickly became the center of attention. I was told that Thai girls are not really into Thai men, but then again, you can clearly see that I am mixed, so it could have been that. Everywhere I went, beautiful girls that were completely out of my league were suddenly coming up to me. They'd tell me they were new to Pattaya, that they liked me a lot, and of course, they'd ask if I had a girlfriend. Now, I wasn't exactly looking for anything serious, and I didn't want to be stuck with the same girl for the rest of my holiday. So I did what any guy would do. I politely turned them down and moved on after I had a drink with them for a bit. There were plenty more fish in the sea. A couple of the girls gave me their Line account and told me to message them, but at that point, I was not interested in meeting up with any girls to go on a date. I took their Line and saved them for a rainy day, but I knew I wasn't going to message them. Now, I could be completely wrong here, but from what I remember, I think the soy I was on was soy 7. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't really matter. I was sat in a bar there, just chilling with my drink, not talking to any girls because I had already gone through my fair share of cash. I was just sat there thinking about how great the night had been when this absolutely stunning girl approaches me. She had that perfect mix of beauty, gorgeous face, killer body. Seriously, she was by far the best looking girl I had seen that night. Her name was Nat, 22 years old, and we hit it off pretty easily. She was asking me about where I am from and what I'm doing here, because she doesn't normally see young guys around that area. I thought she was going to ask if I wanted ST or LT, but she told me that she had just finished working in the bar and was about to head home until she saw me. We spoke in English, but would switch to broken Thai now and again. I can only speak Thai a little bit myself. Don't judge me, I'm a Thai guy who can't speak Thai well, but I'm still a Farang in some ways, no matter how much I look the part. Anyway, after chatting for a bit and having a drink with her, Nam offers me her phone number, casually mentioning that she's off tomorrow and that I should give her a call if I wanted to. I play it cool, act interested but not too eager, and tell her maybe I'll call her, even though I'm stopping myself from taking her right there and then. I leave the bar, but deep down, I already know I'm going to call her. I couldn't wait until the morning. The previous girls that gave me their number, I was not interested, but I sure as hell wasn't going to let this one slip away. Back at my hotel, I'm lying on the bed, replaying the night in my head. And while I told myself I wasn't looking to get stuck with one girl for the whole trip, there was no denying it. Nam was something special. She was 22, gorgeous, and worked in a go-go bar. I started thinking about it. How many guys back home, especially the 19-year-olds from my tiny, dull hometown could say they'd had a night with a girl like that? In my opinion, my first night in Pattaya alone was pretty successful. I had a lot of fun and saw what the city was about. I really wish I could relive my first night. The next day, I gave Nam a call and we made plans to meet up on Walking Street. I was excited, and when we met, we just hit it off even more. I can't describe how beautiful this girl looked. Absolutely gorgeous, but she did not come off as a bar girl. We had a great time, laughing, talking, and just enjoying the night. Not once did she bring up money, which was refreshing. I had it in my head that it was going to be an expensive night, with me footing the bill for the drinks, food, and everything else that comes after. She seemed totally happy paying for her own drinks, which honestly was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't a total cheap Charlie. I did offer to buy her drinks, but remember, I was still a young guy, not like most that come here with their pension. I think she saw that I wasn't rolling in money like the other Ferengs that normally come to Pattaya, but it seemed not to really bother her. There was one moment in the night that totally cracked me up. It seems that a lot of bars on Walking Street do not like Thai guys going inside. In fact, I did not see that many inside other than Thai women. We went to one club and I got refused entry. I had to explain that I am half Thai and show the bouncer my ID. I guess my British accent wasn't enough. Nam thought it was hilarious, but I was kind of embarrassed as it happened in front of everyone. But it's okay, stuff like that happens. Being half Thai does have its perks, especially when someone's trying to overcharge you. You just throw out, "I'm half Thai," and suddenly the prices drop. The night was really amazing with Nam. We danced, laughed, and drank the night away. Again, I was on cloud 9 and I didn't want to get off. That night, Nam ended up staying with me, and let's just say we had a wild night. When morning rolled around, we went for breakfast together, and again, not a single mention of money. I was pretty sure that I was meant to pay for what happened the previous night, but I didn't want to offend her by offering, so I just waited for her to bring it up. While we were having breakfast, she looked at me and said she liked me and that she wanted to go out again that night, but of course she had to work. Now, call me cheap or whatever, but I was a young guy who had just gotten everything for free the night before, and I wasn't about to start paying for it unless she asked me. But before I could even say anything, she surprised me. She told me to come to her bar that night and that she would pay her own bar fine. Then she handed me 500 baht and told me to pretend like I was paying for it. "You not have to pay," she said with a wink, before giving me a quick kiss and walking off. Man, I was absolutely glowing after that night. What an absolutely crazy chain of events, and I was really loving my life. I couldn't wait to rush over and tell my dad, who was all smiles when he heard about it. He was happy that I was having a good time and enjoying myself, but he gave me his usual advice: do not get too attached. He'd been around the block enough to know how things could go. Still, I couldn't help it. I was looking forward to seeing Nam again. She was definitely showing me a few things in the hotel I'd never experienced before, and I was already counting down the days until we could meet again. So, that night, I paid her bar fine, though really I wasn't actually paying, thanks to her little trick earlier. And once again, we had a blast, just enjoying each other's company. We went bar hopping around Soi Alke Metro. All the girls were showing us attention and of course trying to get drinks from us. Nam kindly brushed off the girls that were trying it with me, telling them that we are together and not looking for anything. But here's the thing about Nam. She wasn't your typical Thai girl. She wasn't just another party girl. She actually thought about what she said, and her thoughts had a certain logic to them that I found pretty rare in bar girls. Most girls there did not seem to have much of an education, and when you spoke to them, they would just laugh and agree while having no clue what you are actually talking about. It made me feel a bit sad because she seemed so educated, yet here she was working as a dancer. It didn't seem to add up. It's not my place to judge, so I did not ask her why she is doing what she does. I did not want to spoil the great time we had been having. After the night out, she came back with me and we spent the night together again, and once again it was total bliss. The next morning, we did our thing again, and then, just out of the blue, she told me she loved me. I did not expect her to say that. I wasn't prepared, but I could tell she actually meant it, and wasn't just playing a long game trick to reel me in. Now, I didn't say it back, but deep down I could feel it too. I didn't want to admit it, but the truth was, I was starting to develop some real feelings for her as well. So for the rest of my holiday, it was just me and Nam, and despite what some people might think, we genuinely were in love. It wasn't about the typical tourist hookup or a quick fling. There was something real about us. I would spend the days with my dad, going out and about, and then at night time, I would go and meet Nam where we would pick up from the night before. I never actually paid Nam for anything, not a single baht. In fact, it was the other way round. She'd buy me drinks without a second thought, and she would even show up with food, refusing to let me pay for any of it. It wasn't what I expected, but I wasn't going to argue with it. When it finally came time for me to leave Thailand, I didn't want to go, not even in the slightest. Saying goodbye to Nam was harder than I thought it would be. She cried, and I had a few tears myself. It was one of those moments where you just know something special is happening, and it's horrible to leave it behind. I wanted at least another month with her. I was having the best time of my life with her. It's something I did not want to end. If I could, I probably would have stayed there with her. I did promise her I'd be back, after I'd earned some money, of course. First, I had to find a new job. I had walked out of my old one when my boss told me I couldn't have the month off. And if you remember what I said about losing face, well, that wasn't going to work with me. I wasn't about to let him make me feel small, so I just walked out. When I got back to the UK, I kept in touch with Nam, and we spoke every day, telling each other how much we miss each other and how much in love we were. I instantly started looking for a new job so I could save enough money to go back to Nam. That is all that mattered at the time. She knew my situation. She knew I didn't have money and was looking for a job. She was understanding and encouraging me. She told me she would wait for me. Unfortunately, little did we both know my whole life was about to change. 3 weeks after I left Thailand, my dad suddenly passed away and everything came to a screeching halt. It was like my world flipped upside down and I couldn't focus on anything else. It wasn't something any of us were expecting, which made it a lot worse. Just one day, I get told my dad has passed, a memory that plays through my head every single day. During this time, Nam called me every day, but I was in such a dark place mentally that I couldn't bring myself to answer. I isolated myself from everything and everyone. The most important person in my life is now gone, and I didn't want anything to do with anyone. I did not talk to my family, my friends, and most importantly, I did not talk to Nam. I was upset, confused, and honestly, I wasn't in a good spot. For months, she tried reaching out for me, but I just ignored her calls. Eventually, they stopped coming, and I realized I let something truly special slip away. I regret not telling her what happened instead of just ignoring her, but my mind was just not with it, and I'll live with that regret every day. I did end up trying to reach out to her once I finally got my act together, but my calls went unanswered, and really, I can't blame her for that. It's been 5 years now, but I still think about Nam every so often. I'll remember her and wonder what could have been. She's that what if in my life, the one that got away, the one I'll never forget. I will soon be back in Pattaya, but I don't think I will be able to top my first visit and how meeting Nam was the best time of my life. I won't go searching for Nam once I'm back in Pattaya. After 5 years, she has more than likely moved on in her life. I truly hope she got out of Pattaya and made something of her life. And more than anything, I hope that she met someone that truly makes her happy and treats her good. I wanted to share this story because, let's be honest, most of the time when you hear stories about Thais and Farangs, they're about how bad things go. The usual tales of scamming or heartbreak. But sometimes, maybe more than we realize, it's not just the Thais that are at fault. As Farangs, we can just be as bad.